do not make the same mistake I did. Stop trying to treat your keloid at home. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Monique and I make Caribbean lifestyle content here on YouTube, and today I'll be doing my second update to my keloids. So I did a vlog when I was actually going through the process of having my keloid removed, and I've also done one update video, but that was like a year or two ago I think, and I wanted to give you guys like an update to the updates because I recently rewatched both those videos and realized like how many details I kind of glossed over, and those details are the things you guys need to know when it comes to treating your keloid. So I'll be giving you guys a bit of background on keloids, telling you how I treated mine and giving you the best advice when it comes to treating yours. So make sure you watch to the end of this video. So this all started back in 2015 or 2016 when I was begging my parents to get my second piercings, and the answer was always a hard no, like it's not gonna happen. But then I went to university in 2017 and I was in a whole other country where my parents had no real control over me, and I decided like I'm gonna get the piercing. So I went to this random jewelry store in Bridgetown and I had my ears pierced there, and in the beginning everything seemed fine. The healing process was as I expected. It bled and it like let go some pus like every now and then. It happened to both of them. I think they were both infected at some point. I cleaned it like twice a day as I was instructed and everything seemed fine. But then it was in October of 2018 when someone told me that they saw something like growing behind my piercing, and that's when I got really concerned. So I've always wondered like what exactly is a keloid, and I've done so much research on this, but a keloid is basically like a thick raised scar caused by there being too much collagen in the area of the injury, which is the piercing. And some people think that you're more likely to develop a keloid if you use a piercing gun or use metallic earring backs, which I did on both my ears. I had both my ears pierced with a piercing gun and I had metallic backs on both my ears, but only one ear developed the keloids. I'm not sure how true that is. My speculation is that it just didn't heal properly because I sleep on my left side, and you know this ear will get more rubbed on in my sleep, and that's what I think caused my keloid. It didn't have time to heal properly because it was always being like agitated like when I was sleeping on it. In all of my research, I found that the people who are most likely to develop keloids are Black individuals between the ages of 10 and 30, which is like me, you know. So I'm not really like surprised that I developed a keloid. So let's talk about the symptoms of keloids, because this is where my first mistake happened, right? Spotting the symptoms early is key to treating it early. So the first symptom that I experienced was itching, and when I tell you that my ear itched, right? Like I would be in class and I would just be like rubbing my ear because it's like I'm sure people wondered like, what are you doing? I was always like scratching my ear because it itched so badly. And you know when you get a cut, like itching is a sign of it healing, and it's the same for a keloid. But constant healing means that your body is constantly making like more scar tissue, and that's why a keloid formed, because it's still like constantly healing and producing more scar tissue, which causes the keloid. And if I had noticed at that point that that was a sign of a keloid developing, I could have like started taking care of it from like the early stages, but I didn't take notice of that, and that's something you guys should definitely look for as your first sign of keloid formation. So the itching went on for a while and I didn't notice anything else until somebody told me that they saw something growing like behind my ear. So this was like the second symptom, and at this point I should have done something as well, but I kind of like brushed it off and thought it wouldn't grow any more than it already did, and I was wrong. It kept on growing. So that's the second thing. Like if you see any growth happening on your piercing, like don't wait it out and think it's gonna stop growing. It's gonna keep on growing. That's the point in which you should be taking care of it. But I didn't do anything, and I actually kept the earring in. I did not want to lose my piercings, but the keloid kept on growing and growing and growing to the point where the earring was kind of like compressing one part of the keloid, so it was kind of round and growing on one side while the other side was still like indented because the earring back was like still like on my ear where the keloid wanted to grow. Then it got to a point where I realized I could not keep the earring on anymore, and I actually took out both my earrings, and then I decided, do I want to lose both my piercings? Not really. So I put back in this earring to keep this hole, but once I took out this earring, like this hole closed up instantly, and then from there the keloid just began to grow faster. So the other symptoms are the keloid being thick and raised, it's round and firm and shiny and hairless, and that's exactly what I had. I also saw that some people experience their keloid becoming discolored, like reddish, purplish, brownish kind of colors. I didn't experience that. The keloid is actually a little bit lighter than my actual skin tone. The number one tip I can give you is to start treating your keloid as soon as you experience any of these symptoms. Like, waiting it out is never the way to go. So let's now move on to treatment of keloids. So in my research on keloid treatment, I found so many home remedies like crushed aspirin and honey and tea tree oil and onions, and it all kind of seemed far-fetched to me. Like, how could an onion stop this thing from growing? I didn't believe it at all. But then I came across silicone, and this seemed to make the most sense to me. They sold silicone scar sheets and scar gels, and I did more research into it and finally decided I wanted to treat my keloid with a silicone scar gel. So I went on Amazon and found a scar gel called KeloCote, which is a silicone scar gel, and I ordered that. And that's how I went about treating my keloid at first. So as tempted as I am, I'm not going to say that KeloCote does not work, because when I was using it, I felt as if it slowed down the growth of the keloid, like it was trying to work. But the keloid was probably at a state where KeloCote wouldn't have been effective, right? So I saw it slow down the growth of the keloid, but it didn't actually like shrink it. And it just kept on growing. I kind of gave up on the KeloCote because it wasn't shrinking it, and then I stopped using it and it kept on growing. So if you want to use a silicone scar gel to treat your keloid, my recommendation is to use it when the keloid is still very small, because once it's like at a larger state, those probably won't be the most effective based on my experience. So I kept on with my research for keloid treatments and found some more. I saw people say to tie a string around it and like keep on tightening the string until the keloid like falls off. But then when you see the process of having to do that, it's going to make the keloid swell up so big before it actually falls off. I did not want to go through that. It looked kind of gruesome and I didn't want that to happen to me. So then I finally decided to go to a doctor, and that was my last option when it should have been my first. So that is my next tip for you guys. Stop trying to treat your keloids at home. Go to a doctor if you can. I know people like they can't afford to go to a doctor, so the home remedies may seem better to them, but trust me when I say a doctor is the best person to go to start treating your keloids. So the reason I finally decided to go to the doctor was because I realized the home remedies were doing nothing for me, and then I read about steroid injections which a doctor would have to administer. So I personally went to the doctor at my school clinic when I was in Barbados, and then they referred me to a dermatologist. So I went to the dermatologist thinking I would just get some steroid injections and this would be done with. But then when I went for the consultation, he said that it was too big to be treated with injections alone, and it would have to be surgically removed. So surgery is another way to treat keloids, but bear in mind that even with surgery, keloids can come back. You have to follow up a surgery with steroid injections. So that was the treatment I decided upon. I was going to have it surgically removed and then follow up with injections to stop the keloid from returning. So I did get some questions underneath my last video about the treatment, and I'll answer some of those for you guys right now. So the first question says, what kind of surgery was it? Did they use laser or just cut it off? So my keloid actually grew on both the front and the back of my ear. The back was where it was bigger, and for the back they cut it off and did stitches, and for the front they just burnt it off. It wasn't a laser, I don't think, it was burnt off. And that surgery was something else. Like literally hearing them cut into your ear was scary, and smelling the burning was also very scary, but I didn't feel anything. They totally numbed me, so it was perfectly fine. So the next question is, how long before you got your bandage removed? I think it took me like 2 or 3 weeks to have the bandage removed. And I'm not saying you should expect the same for yourself, because healing times differ between people. Like they thought it was only going to take me like a week or 2, but it took me almost 3. So that's how long it took for me to have my bandages removed. So the next question is, I got an injection for my keloid. Currently the keloid looks more raised. Usually how long does it take after the injection for it to be flat? Now I can't really speak to this per se, because I got my injections after the keloid was removed. I didn't get the injections when the keloid was still there. It was after the surgery. So I can't really speak to that one per se, and I'm so sorry. So the next question is, when you got the steroid injections, did it swell? And it didn't swell visibly. You couldn't look at my ear until I just had like steroids injected into it. But when you feel it, like it felt a bit heavier, like it felt like there was something in there, but to the regular eye you couldn't see any swelling at all. Okay, so someone else asked, do the injections cause any side effects like weight gain? And I didn't see any weight gain at all. I have heard that steroids can cause weight gain, but the amount of steroids injected into your ear is like so little, I don't think it's gonna have a real effect. I could be wrong, but you know, talk to your doctor about like what the side effects would be. So now let's move on to aftercare. Caring for your ear after a keloid removal surgery is so important because you do not want the keloid to come back. So one part of that is, of course, getting your injections once your doctor says you can get them. Also, keeping the area where you had it removed clean. Like, you need to clean that thing twice a day. My doctor recommended me to clean it with witch hazel and then put an antibiotic ointment over it. So every morning and every night I would take a Q-tip with some witch hazel, rub over the area, then use the other end and apply the antibiotic ointment on my ear to avoid any infections or anything else happening to it. I think I had to do that for about a week, or was it 2? I think it was a week. But you have to care for your ear after the surgery, and I would never recommend you to get the surgery without following up with the injection, because that keloid will come back. So if you're going to go through with having keloid surgery, please make sure that you're getting your injections. Like, always go back and get your injections. So once my ear began to heal, I was a little bit scared because it was looking very pink, like fresh flesh. Fresh flesh, but over time it got its color back and it's almost as if it wasn't there. So I'm going to show you guys my ear right now, and the only thing I can still notice is my ear looks very pink where the keloid was removed. Like, compare it to this ear, which, you know, that's my regular skin color, but over here it looks pink. And that does not bother me in the slightest. It does not. This is a very small price to pay for having my keloid removed. Like, I would rather this than a keloid. So the next 2 questions I see are, can you still wear earrings, and did your piercing close or did you get it re-pierced? And I haven't gotten it re-pierced. I don't think I ever will. I do not want to go through the keloid thing again. Like, I'm done with it. I know the doctor said I could if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm done with piercings for now, but re-piercing it is a possibility. So someone else asked, can I please have the name of your doctor? And I actually had 2 doctors. So it was Dr. Bamji, who I had the consultation with, and he did the surgery for me. And on my follow-ups, I saw Dr. Simmons. She did my injections for me, and they are both at the Dermatological, is that how I pronounce it? The Dermatological Institute of Barbados, and I'll have that information in the description box below. So the last few comments I got were about the price. In my last video, I told you guys that it costed me about 470 Bajan dollars to have it removed, and that's about 235 US dollars is what I paid to have the keloid removed. And someone says, that's cheap, America would have bankrupted you. And I know, healthcare in America, I don't know about that. Then someone else said, I went on a consultation today with a plastic surgeon specialist in keloids. They told me it would cost $5,500. That's steep. They said they almost passed out. So I think I covered all the bases in this update video. There hasn't been any change since my last video on the keloid. I can still feel something in there, but it's showing no sign of growing, and that's really good. So I'm happy with my keloid surgery, happy that I was able to have that removed, and happy to help any of you guys with any questions. So if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll be sure to answer them for you. And like I said in my last update, if there are a lot of questions that I can't all answer below the video, I'll make a new update video. So be sure to leave your questions down below and I'll get back to you guys on those. So I hope you guys found this video informative, and I hope you guys learn from my mistakes. Look out for those keloid symptoms early so you can start your treatments early, and go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. Stop trying to treat the keloids at home. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Bye guys.